Coming to you from sunny Orlando, Florida, welcome to the Paperstac podcast, where we cover current topics in the note industry, give you tactics for your note business, and talk with industry leaders to make you a better note investor. And now, your hosts, Brett Berkey and Rick Allen.
Welcome back to the Paperstac podcast. My name is Rick Allen, and this is my esteemed colleague, host, and friend, Brett Berkey.
Good man.
How's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. We're here at Note Expo.
Two places at once.
I know. It's like almost like parallel universes, you know?
It is. How did we do this?
I don't know. It's some kind of quantum physics stuff.
Where's your studio? Oh, man. So I almost had to change my, our flight. Well, not our flight out, my flight out.
Oh.
Because my daughter this morning, she came in and she was like, she handed me this flyer and goes, I got the honor roll, and there's an honor roll breakfast at her school. And I'm like, what day is it? And she's like, oh, November 2nd. I'm like, oh, no. I was like, well, let me see what time my flight is. I was like, oh, I fly out at 9:30. And, you know, it's an hour from where her school is to the airport, and it's from 8:30 to 9. And I'm like, baby, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. And she just starts crying. I'm like,
oh, jeez, the guilt trip. That was
terrible. And then, because she didn't think my wife was going to be able to go. So I was like,
she's like, you're never going to get straight A's again.
She's like, but my wife was like, I'm going to be able to go. I'm like, oh.
Okay.
So I was like, is she being dramatic, or do I need to change my flight, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's my only daughter.
Yeah.
You know, I do the same for my boys, but it's just like, ugh, horrible.
Yeah. Well.
But, so I still up in the air.
Well, Thursday the 2nd is my wife's birthday, so I'm flying out on her birthday. So, that's never good.
No.
It's never good. She never likes it. It's always the same thing every year.
What'd she say?
I told her I'd take her out to dinner the night before, and where I suggested we go to dinner, she called me cheap. And so, I think it's good. It's Indian food, cilantro's. She said you wouldn't take your wife there. I said Rick would take his wife there.
I mean, I don't know, maybe.
I said we go to cilantro's, and afterwards we have a couple beers, and it's whatever. We walk around Winter Garden. She didn't like that idea. So, whatever. Sounds like it's going to be expensive when I get back or before,
And she doesn't want to ride out there with you?
Yeah, she don't want to. She don't want to.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. She doesn't want to do it, so it is what it is. But yeah, so
what's on the agenda for the day? What are we talking about?
So on the agenda for today is you got to pay off. It's a glorious day. It could be glorious. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing?
What do you mean you got to pay off? Like the borrower paid off their loan?
Yeah, either they refinanced or they decided to just drop the cash and pay off their mortgage all in one chunk. But all of a sudden you got to pay off and you're done. And so who are you talking to? The servers are talking to you. What are some of those critical things that you need to do? I mean, do you need to record something with the county? What happens now? You got paid off. So first off, what could stop a payoff?
You don't even realize how short this podcast is about to be.
Is it really? Well, we gotta
keep on asking, bud.
We gotta get back to the conference.
Yeah, we gotta get back to the conference. Go ahead. I'm going up on stage a little bit, doing a TED Talk style.
Yes.
Speech, talk, whatever.
We'll release that next week.
Yeah.
Once we're back.
So, what happens? You got to pay off.
You got to pay off. They're all paid off. You got your money.
Is the money already in your account?
No. So that you got a call from your servicer. So
you get the call from your servicer. Servicer saying, "Hey, it's probably not a call. It's probably an email. Approve this payoff."
That's
what it's going to have. They'll send over something. Hey, you got a request for a payoff, or does this payoff look good? Yes, it looks good. Something along those lines. Or typically they'll just say, yes, it looks good for you. I guess they would say request this if it were like a different kind of payoff. But yeah, that's, if it were like a short sale or something like that. But if you get a payoff, the servicer literally just approves the payoff. Hey, here, somebody sends in and says, what's your payoff? They request the payoff from, the borrower requested, or a title company requested, or another, potentially another lender. And it'll say, we need a payoff for this. And then when it closes, either the title company or usually it should be a title company, they will send funds or the borrower will send in a large chunk of money to pay it off, but you're done. Typically your servicer can and will handle the satisfaction.
They will? Mm-hmm. What is the satisfaction?
It's satisfactional lien. It's what releases it.
Right.
What releases the...
And the servicers need to get that recorded with the county. Mm-hmm. That's on the servicer, not on you.
Typically, the servicer will handle that for you. It's like a value add or something they can do. You'll have to sign the release, but it's I mean.
So let me ask you a question: when it happens, does the servicer take a big, hey, is this a payout chunk that we get, or is it just regular?
It's just a regular thing. They don't get a big piece of it. Like if there's,
like a bonus or payout.
No, if there's like a loss mitigation like strategy involved, like they'll get a chunk there if they were part of it. But every servicer is different. Their fees are all different. So you just have to look at it. So they'll have different fees. If it was like, hey, it's a short sale, then sometimes they get 1 or 2% of the payoff.
Of the payoff, because
not of the payoff of what was paid in. So it varies really by servicer.
Right. Okay. So there's not much to it. There's not a whole lot to it.
No, man. Who are you talking to? You're talking to somebody to start spending that money again to get it back at work. That's what you're really looking for.
That's interesting.
So it's pretty, if you have a FPI, you probably need to cancel your FPI.
Forced place
insurance. If that's not something included in your servicing and you're handling it, you'll have to cancel that. But I mean, your servicer will deboard the loan and you're done.
Nice. And then you just walk away with a chunk of cash.
You walk away with your funds. So those can be really cool. If you buy something that's like non-performing and you get it at a really good deal and then there's this big payoff, or man, I've sold stuff, I bought stuff too. I've purchased performing assets and like 2 months after we purchased it, it paid off.
That's awesome.
It's good if you buy it at a discount, like if it's a reperformer and it pays off. Oh, we did one where I bought, it was an owner finance deal. We bought it for like 72 cents on the dollar, right? It was because it was a lower price band asset. It was almost newly originated. And when it paid off within like 2 months of getting it.
Nice.
And I was like, well, what the heck happened here? And I went back and looked, and the guy who bought it, he bought it for his son. He owned a concrete block company. So, the guy was, making $500,000 or $600,000. It was a $40,000 loan he took out just so he could do it without having, owner financing 12%. Fixed it up, turned around, and just paid cash for it, paid it off. So, those are great because you're buying them thinking it's going to take,
20 years.
20 years to recover your capital, and you recover all your capital, but you don't if it goes out 20 years, you make more money, but the ROI is higher because it pays off so quickly.
Interesting. Is there ever a strategy where you're on
or the yield is higher
when you're like looking at notes to say, hey, look, this one looks these based off? Because I know there's something inside of where would I see it? I saw one of the days
servicing notes. If you look in the servicing notes, sometimes you'll see in there payoff requested.
That'd be a nice one to find without the person selling it knowing.
Right. And believe me, it happens when they're like payoff requested.
Why wouldn't they already? So how would someone request a payoff and the person currently that owns it not be notified?
I guess at that point it would be it's not something that's being approved. It would be a performing loan where they're not behind. You're not having to approve any past due fees or anything like that. You're just saying, yeah, this is the servicer gets the payoff request. They look at their books, say, well, it's a performing loan. Everything's up to date. Here, that's the payoff. Because they're the bookkeepers.
Interesting, but so this I might be missing a part. You're the seller.
Mm-hmm. I'm the seller of the loan.
Right, and you are aware that there's a payoff request.
No, I would never sell a loan if I knew there was a payoff request.
Well, how the heck would you get it to where you're buying it? Is this to somebody that?
What's that?
How would someone as a buyer find something like that in the servicing notes and not have had the person that currently owns it see that?
Because you have 100 loans. Like, I don't read through the servicing notes on all the loans I own.
But when the person made a payoff request, wouldn't that servicer have alerted you as the asset owner?
Maybe. Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
I'd like to know if that was the case, man. I'd be pretty pissed if I was this person putting it on a site and saying,
hey, yeah, there's a payoff request there.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you there's a payoff request. and then you just sold it for like.
Well, the worst is when, and this has happened also, where you're selling something and a payoff request comes in and they're running their due diligence. And you're like, hey, man, I just got a payoff request on this. We're going to hold off on the sale. Let me pay for your due diligence. And most people will get that and understand it. And they'll be like, oh, okay, I got it.
Yeah. What's the fastest you've ever had a payoff request happen? 2 months, you say?
Yeah, a couple months, 60 days.
What was the yield on that? Breaking the calculator type stuff?
No, you don't break the calculator on it. It's just high. It was a lot, So it's like, I think the payoff, it was like a $40,000 balance.
Talking about?
Yeah, and we maybe were in it for like 28 or 30 or 31. So put out you put out $31,000 and
make 9,000,
and you get $9,000 back in 60 days later. So it's like, well,
pretty good.
Yeah, that's a huge return. Those are great returns.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if we had any big ones that were like really big. Like
where a payoff can go wrong is if you're listening to this and you're new, make sure you get your documents recorded. Because we actually had somebody on our site that didn't get the documents recorded, and the payoff came in, and they said, the servicer said, can't do it. You're not recorded as the owner of this note.
They ended up getting the money because
they
recorded their assignment.
Oh yeah, they hopped to it because they wanted to get the money, but still it was a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Because it was like New York or something. It was some crazy state. It went back and forth, back and forth. It was terrible. And the person started.
I've seen that happen so many times. Happened to us. When we first started this, we were getting the properties and we were getting the notes and then getting the deed in lieu so fast that it was like I was taking the assignments to the title company and they were recording it and then doing everything. I didn't really know. And then we had a couple of them where they're like, well, where's your recorded assignment? I'm like, recorded assignment? I went and looked. I'm like, man, we missed recording these. And so we immediately set something up to where as soon as we bought an asset, the collateral file never came to us. It went to a company called EdgeMac.
Oh yeah, I remember EdgeMac.
And so the collateral file went to EdgeMac. EdgeMac took it, got the file, indexed it. We had a cloud service, so we could always go back and we could download anything. They did a color scan copy, indexed, and then they recorded all the assignments. As soon as they got one, we just had a workflow. So we're like, all right, we'll never not do that.
That's smart. Okay, so there's really not a whole lot to it. Just make sure you have your ducks in a row and that you've talked to your servicer, that you read or the emails that they send over to know there's a payoff request. Also making sure that document is definitely recorded in the county so you can get your money. And then just wait for the money to come in.
Yeah.
Then after that, once it's in.
If you're interested in like that flow, I know Casey Wilson does that. They have that flow available.
Casey Wilson does?
Yeah, to where have the documents turned over to them. If you're going through our system, you can say, look, keep the documents with the auditor.
That's right.
Keep the documents with the auditor, reach out to them, set up your own flow of saying, okay, once you have the documents, this is what I want to happen. And they'll do everything. They'll record them, index them. You can have
store them.
You can have them be your dock custodian, store them in their, I think they fireproof safe, something like that. So,
yeah, it's pretty simple to. It's a nominal cost. It's like $40 or something.
It's so worth it.
Yeah, it's just to have them do it, keep it, and not have to worry about it. Otherwise, you got giant collateral file packages.
You just have to look at something if you're doing it. You're like, well, if I were going to do 1,000 of these things, I would have to do something. Because if I were buying like 300 or 400 at a time, I couldn't record 300 or 400 assignments. It would take forever.
Yeah.
That's all I would be doing. So it's like you have to be able to offload it onto somebody. Casey Wilson's a great one to do it. And there's other companies out there that do it. But
interesting. Okay. Well, I think that's pretty much it.
All right, you stretched that one out. You took that. That was supposed to be that was going to be fairly short. It was like nothing. You just let the servicer do it all.
Have you ever? You know how many questions I ask? I always ask.
I
always ask a million questions. Doesn't matter what it is.
Joke's on me.
We could be doing anything. I'm going to ask a bunch of questions. I go deep because I know some people will ask these questions in their head. If we don't cover them,
I got one for you guys. What's the over-under on the amount of time that Brett spends at the booth for a 2-day event? I'm going to say less than an hour and a half.
Whatever.
Less than an hour and a half at the booth, because Brett is just like in and out. He'll like stop in to grab a mint and then he leaves.
I don't even like the mints, but yeah, no, I'm a t-shirt deliverer / meeting maker. Like, I'm networking. Mike's at the booth. He's got it. Mike likes the booth. He likes to be at the booth, and
right.
I mean, I sit there sometimes, and then I go talk to somebody, and then go talk to somebody else, but that's how you learn. You got to network and get out there. If you're not coming to us, I'm going to come to them. So
that's it.
Yeah. So the over/under is probably a 2-day event, probably 4 or 5 hours.
Oh, I said an hour and a half. You'll take the over on that?
Yeah. I think it's about 4 hours.
You know what? You could wind up there at 4 hours, because you'll sit down and you'll have your computer there and you'll start working on like editing a video, or you'll do some support or something like that, and then you'll get stuck there.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely talked. Well, last year at Node Expo, I was the only one there, so I was there pretty much the whole time. when there's other people that can actually,
handcuff them to the desk last year. So I get you're due to go out and wander.
Yeah, that was
aimlessly.
Yeah, that was DME. That was me. I was wandering a lot.
I bet.
Yeah,
I bet.
Mike liked the booth, so. But that's we'll see. We'll see who won that bet on the next podcast. But the good thing is that
So you're gonna say 4 hours?
4 hours.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
You're saying, so you're gonna say 4 hours or more. I'm gonna take less than 4 hours.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. I'll take less than 4. I'll take the under. All right. So we'll let you know who won.
And then if you have your own questions, where to put them in the comments. Reach out to hello@Paperstac. If you haven't already, check out the Academy. The simulations are going in. They're starting to get in there, and what do you think so far? You think it's turning out to be pretty cool?
TBD. To be determined. I got to see it all come together. I got to see it come together, because right now I'm doing the recordings and I'm like, I want to see one. That's why I said let's do one. We got to see one come out, but I think it's going to be good. I definitely. It's better than the other simulator that we put out.
Put out a simulator?
No, we didn't. So that's why it's better than what we've already got. So it'll be fine.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Or the other simulators that are available out in the market today. There's none. So I just look at how Paperstac was when we first released it.
Yeah, it'll be a building in
It'll
progress.
It'll get better. So who knows? We may knock it out of the park on this first one. We'll see. I just record. He will put it all together and
make it interesting.
The mad scientist. So we'll catch you on the next episode of the Paperstac Podcast. Rick Allen, Brett Berkey.
See ya.
Ciao.
Are you new to the mortgage note industry? Have you been wanting to learn the step-by-step process to purchase your first mortgage note? Well, you're in luck. We've convinced our CEO, Rick Allen, to break down everything he knows about mortgage note investing. Through a series of 50 videos, you'll get everything from start to finish of where to purchase notes, how to purchase notes, and all of Rick's investing techniques he has developed over the many years. From performing note tactics to non-performing notes, Rick gives you everything he knows about investing. Bonuses include our glossary of industry terms, Rick's own proprietary calculators he created to evaluate notes, discounts from our partners, our Rolodex of vendors, a private Facebook group, along with a lot more. We've packed so much content into the Academy to take you from beginner to expert in no time. To learn more about the Academy, go to academy.paperstac.com/welcome. Again, that is academy.paperstac.com/welcome.